The first day of April is no joke when it comes to the NCAA Final Four. The big event is expected to bring in big bucks to the Twin Cities. But how will it impact the Northwest suburbs? We sent Eric Nelson out to get some answers.
The whole impact on the whole Minneapolis, St. Paul regional area is going to be huge.
The Final Four is coming to the Twin Cities, and the bounce of basketballs could also mean a money bounce for the Northwest suburbs.
The compression that we'll have in our area is going to be significant.
The Final Four's total economic impact is projected to be $142 million. According to the Minneapolis Northwest Convention and Visitors Bureau, some of that money will flow into both the Brooklands and Maple Grove.
A lot more rooms will be booked in the area, and we're hoping for a big impact on our restaurants and our hotels and shopping in general.
Local hotels are bracing for a crush of Hoops fans. 94,000 visitors are expected to make a fast break to Minnesota. Meanwhile, those fanatics need a place to eat and some other options while staying in the area.
It's always the hope that they come into our shops and do some shopping when they're not at the games.
Tourism officials also believe the Northwest Metro will be a popular spot because of its close proximity to all the action.
You can get downtown, Brooklyn Center, maybe 10 minutes, Maple Grove around 20, but there's free parking, it's easy in and out, usually you get a little bit lower hotel rates.
That is a bonus for some fans. They can be part of the hype and hoopla in downtown Minneapolis, but save some bucks while staying in the nearby burbs. From Super Bowls to All-Star games to major golf events, the Twin Cities certainly knows how to throw a sports party. And getting the Final Four is another slam dunk accomplishment for the region.
People are really starting to see the value of sports in Minnesota and how well we can host these events. So the more that keeps growing, the more events we'll get, and it's definitely going to have a huge impact on the Northwest suburbs.
I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
According to Rockport Analytics, fans coming to the Twin Cities are projected to spend $123 million. Plymouth police are investigating a death that happened over the weekend. At around 8:30 Sunday night, an officer found a car on fire and resting up against this building on 21st Avenue North. After the fire department put the fire out, responders found a body inside. The victim has not been identified, and police are still investigating. Last month's Christchurch mosque shootings in New Zealand has left many in the Muslim faith thinking about the safety of their own houses of worship. Reporter Meredith Hackler shows us how one mosque in Brooklyn Park is taking steps to make sure their congregation is safe. Meredith?
Shannon, the Brooklyn Park Islamic Center is a place those of the Muslim faith go to worship and be with family. In light of the recent terrorist attacks in New Zealand, they wanted to make sure they were doing everything they could to keep their community safe.
One of the first steps that we took was having an officer come out and kind of do an assessment and making sure that our property has safety measures in place in case something would happen. And then we also are doing a training around in case an active shooter actually enters the building, what would be our plan.
The Brooklyn Park Islamic Center also took part in a personal safety training. An officer went over safety tips to help people secure their homes, as well as to be aware of in public settings. Officers say one of the most important things to remember about personal safety is to always be aware of your surroundings. A crime prevention specialist in Brooklyn Park says when the New Zealand attacks happened, the first thing they did was check in with mosques in the cities.
It's just something that we do. It would be the same thing if there was an attack on a Catholic church or a synagogue or a Baptist church. If we have someone like that in our community, we want to make sure that they're safe and that they know we're keeping an extra eye on them.
The Brooklyn Park Police Department offers free premises surveys for both businesses and homeowners. If you're interested in scheduling one, call the police department and ask for the Crime Prevention Unit. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Meredith. An autism therapy center out of Fridley wants to relocate to Brooklyn Center. The Helena Autism Therapy Center in Fridley requested a permit to operate and build a playground at a location on Brooklyn Boulevard near Northport Elementary. The three-story building houses multiple tenants, and this therapy center would be the largest tenant. The center wants to relocate so they can build a playground for the children they serve, who range in age from 2.5 to 7 years old. A Plymouth aerospace and defense company is applying for state funds to help it expand and add jobs. Alliant Techsystems Operations is applying for state job creation funds. The company is a subsidiary of Virginia-based Northrop Grumman, which bought Alliant last year in a nearly $8 billion deal. It makes precision-guided missiles and rocket boosters that service the International Space Station. According to city officials, Alliant has about 580 employees in Plymouth. It plans to add 65 jobs, a majority of them lab tech jobs, with salaries averaging about $100,000 a year. Meanwhile, a Plymouth heating and air conditioning equipment maker is expanding its presence in the city. Daikin Applied Americas is leasing new office space not far from its current headquarters in Plymouth. The office space will accommodate existing workers and future growth. The company has seen revenue surge due to increased customer demand for more efficient HVAC systems in office buildings. Monday is April Fool's Day, and one Maple Grove cupcake shop is serving up a cupcake like none other. It's become a tradition in Maple Grove for Nadia Cakes to serve up unicorn poop cupcakes, along with a variety of food imposters like sushi, nachos, and fried rice. An out-of-the-box cupcake selection for April Fool's Day has been a tradition for 10 years at the Maple Grove store. Of course, we have this story and more stories on our website at ccxmedia.org.
It was a showcase weekend for some of the top players from our area and around the state in boys hockey and basketball. The CCM High Performance Ted Brill Great 8 Hockey Festival was back in South St. Paul. The Royal Blue Stars featuring players from sections 2 and 6. Royal turns it over, and Dalton Saltness of Forest Lake works a nice give and go with Nate Swenson of St. Michael Albertville for the goal for the gold team. Trailing 2-0, Drew Ide of Armstrong Cooper headmans the pass to his high school teammate Jonah Jangla. He goes in to score to pull Royal Blue within 2-1. In the second period, pass is broken up, but Matthew Conroy of Breck is the trailer, and he buries the shot. And his team is within a goal at 3-2. They later tie it, but here's the game winner. Swenson's cross-ice pass frees wide. Andrus of Brainerd, he buries it. And the goal team of Section 7 and 8 beats Royal Blue 4-3. Also, the white team representing Section 4 and 5 face the Red All-Stars. Champlain Park goalie Brennan Boynton. Nice stop for the white team. He denies Lane Glazier of Hutchinson, but they get one later in the first. Parker Stendel of Mankato East scores for a 1-0 Red lead. Second period, they work down low, and Sam Schultz of Mankato East beats Nico Vega for the goal, and it's 3-0. White gets one as the first shot is blocked here, and Champlain Park Sam leads. Sends it at the net. It's deflected in by Troy Dahlmeyer of Monticello, but the red team representing sections 1 and 3 wins it 4-1. The Section 7-8 HP 18 team won the Grade 8 tournament, taking the championship 9-6 over the Section 1-3 senior team. It was one final time to play together as high school players. The annual Minnesota All-Star Basketball Tournament brought together 40 of the state's best seniors for 2 days of games. Highlights from the Saturday games: the Green All-Stars versus Maroon up first. And Hopkins' Jalen Deering hits a three-pointer for the Maroon All-Stars early. Deering scores 13 points in the game. Champlain Park's Benedetto drives and then kicks it out to Hunter Nielsen of New Prague. He hits a three, and the Maroon All-Stars have a 10-point first-half lead. Kahari Broadway of Park Center gets up for the dunk here and slams it for the Green All-Stars, and they pull within 5 points. Deering a nice assist, feeding Nielsen for the layup. The Maroon All-Stars win 117-107. In between games, Breck's David Roddy receives the McDonald Award, named after legendary Chisholm head coach Bob McDonald, who was on hand for the ceremony, honoring excellence and character on and off the court. Game 2 featured the blue and gold All-Star teams. Highlights from this one: Tommy Chapman hits the floater to give the Gold All-Stars a 16-11 lead. Chapman a big game for The Park Center senior hits another mid-range jumper here. 26 points in the game for Chapman. Second half, Maple Grove's Jared Rainey to Brandon Edelman of New London Spicer. Matthew Hurd of Rochester. John Marshall gets the dunk. Gold was on the win, though, 134 to 131. Between games, Maroon All-Star Benedetto talked about the weekend.
It's a pretty great experience, just playing with these guys all the way up through middle school and everything like that. Just to play with them together as a team, you know, it's a great experience. Last time before we go off to college.
The girls basketball All-Star Series is still to come. It's set for a week from Saturday in Northfield. Among the players from the Northwest Suburbs scheduled to play, Delayla Shakolis from state class 4A champion Hopkins. Asia Wheeler of Cooper, who led her team to back-to-back state class 3A tournaments, and Wysetta's Callie Tyson and Mimi Schrader. There will be 2 games at the Girls All-Star Series Saturday, April 13th at 1 o'clock and 2:30 p.m. Prior to the games, the players will help out with a free youth clinic for girls in kindergarten through 4th grade. That's at 11:30. All of the All-Star events are at Carleton College in Northfield. That's all for sports for today. More CCX News right after this.